As part of ODOT's construction season announced on March 31st, the Village of Beverly is included for one of the 977 projects across the state of Ohio, focusing on the condition of their sidewalks. According to the mayor of Beverly, Jim Ullman, the Village of Beverly has in place a Transportation Alternatives Program grant worth $325,000 for the project to redo some of the town's sidewalks. Ullman says the sidewalks that will be redone this year are both sides of 3rd and 4th Street and Center Street between 7th and 3rd Street where sidewalks are placed. Ullman says one of the reasons for these sidewalks to be redone is for handicap accessibility.
Brought to my attention that we had handicapped individuals that was using the sidewalks that actually had to go out into the road to get from point A to point B. So that being said, we'd done all we could do to find the money to make the sidewalks appropriately made for them to be able to use those sidewalks like everybody else.
Ullman says construction on the sidewalks are planned to strike ground on April 20th, and they plan to finish the project by the end of July.